All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to cover in our live stream. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Turn notifications, subscribe to the channel. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to look at a lot of news updates that have happened in this space since yesterday, answer some of your questions, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Last but not least, nothing I'm saying in this video is not be financial advice, and there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like, I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. So, we got a lot of people jumping in the chat here. We got David, Ben, Francis, Analytical, VDZ, ADM, JT, Devor, Lee. Welcome. All right, a lot of people in the house here. So let's go ahead and jump into our live stream. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today for sure. We got kind of a big Friday roundup, a bunch of different topics. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm seeing a big controversy floating around on Twitter and other places about a lot of selling of ETH, particularly from big accounts, and whether people should be worried about this, okay? So a lot of people are just like cashing out, but what do I think is happening in this case? So one of the really important controversies that's come to light is basically this one, where we can track the blockchain wallets and who owns what on chain. You can just see like, hey, what balances this wallet have? What are they doing? Are they sending funds to exchanges? Are they buying NFTs? Are they doing DeFi with it, et cetera, et cetera? Okay, and there's a lot of controversy because there's a wallet actually controlled by the Ethereum Foundation that just sent like 20,000 ETH to Kraken, a cryptocurrency exchange, over the last, maybe I think last day, something like that. And so people are like, hey, like freaking out about this, like thinking that they're timing a top for the ETH market cycle or something like that. But there's lots of explanations behind this. I mean, they could be doing this to pay for salaries. They could be doing it to pay for any, cash expense that they might have around the Ethereum Foundation. Now, if you're curious what the Ethereum Foundation is, it's a core foundation around the Ethereum ecosystem itself. Now, Ethereum's not controlled by the foundation. It is a decentralized organization, but as you've seen with projects over time, basically starting out with a concentration of power and then gradually, disseminating that power out into multiple people, okay? So that's kind of their influential role, but some people are just like freaked out by this, and I don't think it's a big deal. So the reason I talk about this is, there's multiple ideas that kind of connect the idea of people selling. And this morning on my live stream, or on my Twitter, you can definitely follow me on Twitter if you want to. Before the live stream, I was like, hey, what do y'all want to talk about today in our live stream? It's the first time I've done this little experiment, so maybe we'll try it again in the future, see if there's other topics that you all want to cover in the stream. But I put a tweet out there on Twitter, and, got some good questions on here, and somebody actually was saying, won't be able to join, but when to exit this current bull cycle, but not allowed to say do nothing. So, as always, not financial advice, but I did see this post come up on Reddit that I thought was worth mentioning as one perspective on this issue. So again, I'm not going to give you financial advice and tell you exactly what to do because there's lots of factors based on your, current financial situation, all that type of stuff. But I did actually see this perspective, and it's kind of interesting. So it's an unpopular opinion. You will probably make more money holding all your crypto through the bear market than trying to time the market and sell before it happens, okay? So this is a hotly debated issue. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Would you hold through a bear market? Is it too hard to time? Do you actually think that you're smart enough to call the top, sell at the right time, and then buy back lower, or just cash out completely and do something with your crypto? Because some of the points here are end up with smaller bag than you had at the beginning, potentially. Like, if you're holding Bitcoin or ETH, you try to time the market and then it falls, and you may not be able to get as much later. You just have a smaller position. And if it goes up over time, then you're just kind of losing out on that. So get affected by all the FUD that comes from the bear market, all right? Or missing the buying opportunities and getting into the next bull market with no crypto in your bags. Basically, if the rocket ship starts taking off again, you don't know when that's going to happen, and you might miss that train completely, which kind of goes back to the earlier point. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Do you have the courage to hold through a bear market? Because trust me, I've been through a very long one, and it's not as easy as it sounds. But that being said, I've also tried to time markets and sell and buy things based on what I think is the best opportunity to do both things, and it's really hard to do that perfectly as well. And anybody who's really smart and been around crypto for a long time or any type of market for an extended period of time with a lot of experience will tell you the exact same thing. Somebody says sell 8 to 10K, accumulate more during the bear. Yeah, I guess you could sell part of it and then try to buy more later. So let's actually go ahead and take a look at the crypto markets here. And let me just pull this up. Hold on. Kind of take a look at what's going on here. We're going to look at some other news topics that have happened in this space since yesterday. Look at some of the tech, answer some of your questions. I got a couple career questions that popped up around blockchain development and other, crypto-related things in the tweet thread here. But let's take a look here. So yesterday we kind of talked about, did crypto peak? Was $69,000 a top for crypto? I really don't think so. There's a lot of fear kind of going around in the marketplace. I just think it's warranted. We're still seeing tons of adoption in this space. I think people are hungry for gains. We haven't seen a massive, Bitcoin price increase over the last 90 days. I mean, sure, it's gone up, right? 180 days, it's, roughly doubled it over a long period of time. But really, typically what happens around these tops is you see the Bitcoin price double in a really short amount of time. That's what happened here. We went from $20,000 up to $60,000. It's a tripling, okay, in about 4 months. And here we've gone basically a doubling in about the same amount of time, okay? Even longer, it looks like, actually. So I really don't think we're just in this exhausted place for Bitcoin to peak and then go into a bear market. I know there's a lot of people that try to look at different technical indicators. I'm not really a technical analyst. I'm not going to sit here and draw charts on the thing. I don't claim to be an expert in any of that stuff. Basically, what I'm looking at is the adoption of the technology itself, and then the values actually occurring in the cryptocurrencies based upon that. So let's look at some. Same is true for the entire crypto market right now. Now, I'm not saying that means that every little small cap altcoin or mid cap or dog coin or whatever is going to just continue trending higher with the market. It's not that simple, okay? Because not everything goes up in a bull market. Some stuff just lays flat on the floor, okay? But big quality stuff tends to do really well. And that's one of the reasons my biggest bet has been on Ether, because I understand the fundamentals of the network. I made a big bet on that technology, and it's a lot of those convictions have paid off and are continuing to ring true. So speaking of the adoption that I'm talking about, let's actually look at a couple things here, which is AMC. All right, so AMC CEO. So they are accepting online transactions with crypto, and 14% of their online transactions come from crypto. So CEO of movie theater chain AMC took to Twitter to tout the success of its crypto payment option and teased the upcoming adoption of Dogecoin. Okay, so 14% of all their payments are coming from crypto. That's significant adoption, and that's a small percentage number. Who cares about 14%? But that's actually pretty significant, okay? So think about it if you were to break it up across all the different types of credit cards. Now, I know it's not a perfect comparison because, it's a credit card's a different class of payment versus crypto, and you'd have to fairly do that. You have to divide the cryptocurrencies, but still, speaking in big terms, it's pretty significant. I mean, what was it before? Basically, zero. And another thing about it is, for terms of crypto adoption, if you're talking about, standing to gain from crypto, you only need so much percentage of the entire world to adopt crypto to see a massive increase in the value. Because not just the prices of the cryptocurrency, but also just the utility value of the blockchain technology itself, because it's based upon network effect. The more people use it, the more valuable it becomes. Just like any social network or telephone system or whatever, You want to get on Facebook? Well, Facebook's not valuable if there's only 5 people on Facebook, right? But if there's 1 billion people on Facebook, it's pretty valuable. Same thing with, a chat app like Telegram or something. Telegram's not that useful if you only talk to one person, but if you put 100 million people on Telegram, it's pretty useful. Okay, there's a high likelihood you're going to know other people you can talk to on there or connect with other people. Okay, same thing with blockchain technology, and that's how the cryptocurrency prices go up in the first place. The more people use it, the more demand there is for the technology, the value that actually accrue in the cryptocurrencies themselves. So if you see these small percentage increases of total users of normal like people, like with AMC, for example, it just takes a small number of people to really increase the utility value and the network effect of those networks and also the cryptocurrencies themselves. Somebody says 150 million users growing to over a billion in the next 5 years. Yeah, we definitely looked at that graph yesterday about, or maybe the day before, about the internet, like basically crypto being like the internet in 1998, same number of users, okay? But the difference is crypto is growing twice as fast as the internet. So if you think about it in internet terms like 1998, it's not like in 2 years we're going to be at the year 2000. It's like in 2 years we're going to be at the year like, well, the exponential, so basically like 2004. So it's exponential, right? It's growing twice as fast. Or the rate's increasing, right? At least I think it is. So that's the rough idea. So it's not like you're just going the exact same rate. The rate's actually increasing. Let's see here. Somebody says, will the bull run extend into 2022? So, I don't have a crystal ball to know exactly what's going to happen with the cryptocurrency markets. There's multiple perspectives on this. There's one or two scenarios. Well, really three scenarios. Well, yeah, three scenarios, basically. Either we have a cycle peak and then we enter into an extended bear market, which I'm going to say is longer than 6 months. Okay. And that's like a traditional crypto cycle. May not look exactly like people think it would. It doesn't necessarily have to have a blow-off top, parabolic top. Could just stop now, right? It's not very likely, but it could. So that's one possibility. Other possibilities, we're in a crypto super cycle, which basically means that crypto prices are generally just going to trend upward for a very long time. Okay. And the last thing is crypto just kind of goes sideways for the next year. Could happen. Like crypto could just oscillate between, $40,000 per Bitcoin and $70,000 or $50,000 and $70,000. It really could happen, So those are the three possibilities. I think the most likely scenario is that we're in a traditional market cycle. You know what I mean? That's just because that's how things have played out in the past, and history tends to repeat itself. And I do think we could get to a super cycle point at some point, but it may not be now. Now that being said, I'm still not 100% sold on the cycle thesis. And that's one of the reasons I have to wait and see what happens with the overall crypto prices in general, which is I basically have to wait and see if we see, a couple signs of a cycle ending. A couple of those signs, to me, would look like a really rapid doubling in major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, like really rapid doubling, or just total exhaustion. And I don't see either of those things happening right now. Okay. So if we don't see those and the trend just kind of continues higher gradually, and we see more and more adoption, that puts me more in the super cycle camp. Like, you can't really know exactly what's going to happen for sure. And some people have higher conviction on either of those two things. I'm comfortable with not actually having as high conviction on either of those two things. All right. I have pretty high conviction that we're not just going to stop trending upward from now, and that we're just going to dump and go into a bear market. I don't have any good reason to really think that. Now, there could be a black swan event in the sense that there's something we don't know about that nobody can predict at all that could absolutely make everything nuke all at the same time, including traditional markets, including crypto. That could happen. It just doesn't seem very likely, because the number of times that you could correctly predict that over the past century, you can only count those things, like the number of times you've been right, you can only count that on basically one hand, okay? Every single time somebody tried to call for a disaster, almost every single time somebody tried to do that, been dead wrong. Some people did. You got movies about Michael Burry and The Big Short, but he hadn't been right about a lot of other stuff since then, I'll put it that way. Some people say he's not wrong, he's just early. It's like, well, it's kind of a cop-out. That being said, no disrespect to Michael Burry, clearly a very intelligent person. You just gotta acknowledge when you're right and when you're wrong. What has he not been right about? Saying that everything is going to come crashing down for like the past 2 years. All right, so let's look at a couple other things here. So we do see the mayor of Miami says residents will receive Bitcoin dividend in a MiamiCoin wallet. Okay, so Miami is giving residents Bitcoin dividend according to mayor. So the Miami mayor announced on CoinDesk TV that a yield from the staking of the city's MiamiCoin will be paid directly to residents who acquire a wallet, register for dividend, and pass verification process. Okay, so this could be the beginning of a similar, type of concept. Let's see here. As this. So I saw his blog post come out the other day. I haven't read the entire thing, but definitely something you can check out if you want a weekend read. This is Crypto Cities by Vitalik Buterin, so the mastermind behind Ethereum, laying out, an interesting view on what, it could look like to have crypto cities. Talking about citycoins.co, a project that sets up coins intended to become local media of exchange, where a portion of the issuance of the coins goes to the city government. Miami Coin already exists, and San Francisco Coin appears to be coming soon. So he's been talking a lot about this, okay? And this is an example of what the Miami mayor is talking about, with the residents receiving dividends in Bitcoin with their Miami Coin wallet, and how this could be a very futuristic, view of what we can do with crypto with local governments over time. In fact, I might make a video about that, like a detailed video about that, because I think it would be pretty cool. I'll go ahead and put that on my notes here. Okay. Somebody says, it's never been too late to learn anything, especially not coding, since a lot of the frameworks and languages changes pretty rapidly, so it's hard to keep up, pretty easy to get in. So somebody might, funny comment in the chat, I can't read it on camera. I assume somebody's asking about, is it basically too late to learn blockchain development? No, definitely not. I don't have, I did a video, you should go check out my channel, with a guy named Chris, who actually learned, blockchain. I taught him blockchain, and I believe he's in his mid-50s, okay? So, no, for most people, it's not going to be too late to learn something new. You don't have to have a computer science degree. You don't have to have a coding background to get started today. What do I think about metaverse? So go check out the video I put out this week on metaverse. Somebody says they got their son in a boot camp for their birthday. Awesome. Yeah, never too early either. Because that's the thing. Especially, I didn't learn to code when I was a kid. But, I did do other stuff when I was a kid that I was, super interested in that was kind of over my head. And it's sort of like with kids, just exposure to things, as long as they're interested in it, is good. You know what I mean? Even if they can't get everything, just the exposure, if you can cultivate their interests, that's really important for the long term. And we saw We saw the article about the 12-year-old boy who made, $400,000 on his NFT project on his, summer break in between school. So it doesn't seem like it's too early, as long as the interest and aptitude is there. But that's the other thing, is you don't necessarily know if the aptitude is there or not until they try. And part of that's aligned with interest. You'd be surprised if people learn if they're interested in. I mean, have you ever met anybody who kind of seems like an airhead, but then they have this little small area of genius, but that's because it's something they're just super passionate about, and that's what drives them to actually learn? It's pretty common. Somebody says moved mana to CTSI, then they flipped pumping. Yeah, that's what happens. I don't really try to make too many moves around crypto. I don't consider myself like an expert portfolio manager or anything like that. Okay, so let's look at another interesting thing that I saw come up yesterday was basically this. But basically, so let me just pull it up. So we're starting to see crypto get into dating apps. Okay, so I've thought about this before. It's like how could blockchain change the dating game for dating apps? So Bumble is swiping right on the Web 3.0 in the metaverse. So it's interesting. I wonder what's going to come out of this. I thought about a couple of different ways that you could make a crypto dating app. One could basically be like, it sounds pretty dystopian, but it's like you could verify somebody else's holdings. You know what I mean? So it's like if somebody is trying to date somebody of a certain net worth, they could prove it on chain. That sounds pretty pretty dystopian. But that's only one of the only use cases that comes to mind is just verifying asset ownership, which is sort of the antithesis of probably what you want in a dating app. But hey, tech's a weird place. If you can think about how you could create a crypto Web3 metaverse dating app, let me know. I guess a metaverse, if you could have a metaverse experience of talking to the other person without actually talking to them, sort of like a metaverse deep fake conversation or something powered by an AI that taps into their persona. I don't know, we're pretty far away from creating something viable like that. Someone says, can it provide anonymity in dating? That could be an interesting concept. Somebody says, gold digger coil, blind dating VR. Want to date Pikachu, augmented reality. Awesome. Setting preferences to hide profiles who own Pudgy Penguin. I guess for NFTs, if you had an affinity for certain NFTs that could bring certain people together, then it's less about just how much money do you have, and it's do you also hold an interest in this thing? Now I realize some NFTs are still kind of caught up in the status symbol flex thing, but could be one reason. All right, so speaking of, we were talking about earlier about people kind of freaking out about Ethereum Foundation cashing out of some of their ETH positions and why that could be. The amount that was cashed out was less than the amount of ETH that was burned over the past 2 days. Okay, so we are still burning a ton of ETH. All right, we have burned. Let's just see here. The past 24 hours. Let's just do. Hold on a second. Past 24 hours, we've burned 14,000 ETH. So that's getting pretty close to 20,000 ETH that was sold that people are freaking out about. Past 7 days, we've burned 88 million ETH, or 88,000, sorry, 8,000, sorry. I can see the numbers off the top of my head. 14,000 ETH past day, 88 million ETH over the past week. All right. So if you're new around here and you're wondering like what are these metrics, what do they mean? So right now, over the past like 3 months, let's see, EIP 1559 went live in August, isn't that right? Yeah, August, September, October, November. So about 3 months ago, we implemented this change. Where basically ETH is burned now whenever new transactions are created. So what does that mean? So basically, like if I'm sending cryptocurrency from my wallet to yours, you go to MetaMask and you pay a transaction fee, or maybe like you withdraw from an exchange and you see a little transaction fee on there, like you have your amount that you're sending plus a little small fee. Well, that where does that fee go? Well, it goes to the miners right now because Ethereum is proof of work. So we have miners who run the network. All right. But whenever you send that transaction, now after this change, the fee is broke up into two parts, a base fee and a miner tip. And part of that fee, the tip that's going to the miners is going to the miners, but the base fee is getting burnt. It's just getting erased from the network. And that's what people mean by burning ETH. So, new ETH is still getting created by the blockchain. Every single block is a way to pay miners because they're getting paid two ways, your transaction fee plus the new ETH that's created by the blockchain in form of the block subsidy that goes to the miners, okay? But you can see, like, how much ETH was burnt, okay, per year, and then how much ETH is created by the blockchain over here per year. So 4.6 million ETH, 5.4 million ETH, okay? And so, basically, it's like some of that cancels each other out, but not completely. So what it's really doing right now is just slowing the rate that new ETH is entering into the supply, or said another way, slowing ETH's inflation rate or reducing ETH's inflation rate to 0.47%. So if you took this over here and it didn't exist, this number would be about 4%, okay? Because that's what sort of the base, ETH inflation rate is about 4% right now. All right, but now that we have EIP 1559 in place, some of that ETH's getting burnt or erased from the network. And so based on the network activity, it's a variable, but currently the inflation rate's about 0.7%. Now here's the kicker. Whenever we merge and turn proof of stake on, which is part of the Ethereum 2.0 roadmap, whenever we merge that back into ETH1 within the next probably 6 months or so, then we're going to turn proof of stake on, and this number right here is going to get a lot smaller. So instead of 4% a year, this is going to get cut in half 3 times. People call it the triple halvening, 4%, 2%, 1%, 0.5%. So that's 3 jumps. That's 4 numbers, but 3 jumps. And that goes to, which will offset this number significantly. And if you can click the simulate merge button, that means that ETH is now negative 3.5% inflationary or 3.5% deflationary because the amount of ETH getting burned is greatly exceeding the amount of ETH getting created by the network, okay? So now that assumes that the network activity will at least stay the same as what it is now, but I expect it to increase, and then this also get turned on within the next 6 months, which means ETH will be permanently deflationary, assuming the network keeps getting used, which I think it will, after the merge, okay? And you can actually see this peak projected max supply. You can kind of play around with it when you think the merge is going to happen. So if it happens in March, you can see that this model projects that the maximum will only ever be 119 million ETH. If it happens in, June, you can push it back and you can say the projected maximum will only be 120 million ETH. If it happens in, January, which I don't think it will, you could, say it's 118 million. So you can play around with this, kind of see what the numbers are. The other thing to watch out for if you're tracking this website is, you can see how much ETH's getting burnt every single block. And anytime you see a number greater than 2, that's a deflationary block. So this is not a deflationary block, but this is not. Someone says traders all lose money, but of course they won't tell you that. There's not. Yeah, there's a lot of traders that do lose money. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps the videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.